We are told to solve the equation 3 cos x is equivalent to 2 sin squared x for the values of x between 0 degrees and 360 degrees, and just like that you get your 4 marks. For you to solve such a trigonometric problem, especially involving equation, it is very advisable to work with a single ratio. For example, in this problem that we have, we are dealing with more than one trigonometric relation. In this case then, because we're involving more than one trigonometric ratios, we need to change it to an equation that involves only one ratio. And to do that, we need to remember the trigonometric identities or definition. So in this case, I want us to remember this trigonometric identity, whereby we say that sine squared x plus cos squared x is equivalent to 1. That is a known trigonometric definition. And now, because we don't want to work with these two trigonometric ratio, we need to convert either cos x into sine x or sine squared x into cos x. And for us to do that, we need to use the known definitions and the identities. The only identity that can help us here is this one. So when we use this identity that we have here, we can change our equation to involve only one ratio. That is the only secret. If you can remember that, then it is very easy to solve this equation. Now, from this identity, then we can say that sine squared x is equivalent to 1 minus cos squared x. That is by taking this to the other side of the equation. If that is the case, then we substitute sine squared, we get 3 cos x is equivalent to 2 into 1 minus cos squared x. So when we remove the blanket, we shall have 2 minus 2 cos squared x. When we take everything to the other side of the equation, what shall we have? We shall have 3 cos x minus 2, then plus cos squared x is equivalent to 0. So, rearranging in quadratic form, when we rearrange this one in quadratic form, let me remind you about quadratic form. That is a x squared plus bx plus c is equivalent to 0. So you want whatever as, okay, this is 2 here, beg your pardon, whatever as squared to take the position of x squared, So, and whatever is in front of cos squared x is the coefficient of x squared. So we shall have 2 cos squared x plus anything with cos is 3 cos x, and now we have minus 2 is equivalent to 0. Nice. So if we let cos x to be y, now substituting what we have, substituting y in the equation, we shall have 2y, but in this case y squared, plus 3y minus 2 is equivalent to 0. So we have written it in quadratic form. I know if you're smart now, you can solve this one. And for us to solve this one, you can use quadratic formula, you can use factor method, factorization method, also graphical method, but at this point you don't need to do graphical methods. I'm just listing the possible way of solving this kind of equation. So if you have problem with quadratic equation or solving of quadratic equation, I will put a link at the end of this video so that I can redirect you to that tutorial. So let's continue. So rewriting the equation, we shall have twice y squared plus 3y minus 2 is equivalent to 0. So I'm going to use factorization method. To solve this. I shall have product. Okay, I will multiply the coefficient of y squared times c. Okay, we shall have -4, and sum is 3. Factors then shall be -1 and 4. So that when I say -1 times 4, I get -4. And when I say -1 plus 4, I get 3. So that is okay. Now substituting, what do I have? 2y squared plus 4y minus y minus 2 will give me 0. What is common here? 2y is common, so that I'm left with y minus 2. Then what is common here? Minus 1, y. What is common here? So I beg your pardon here. Let's relook. What is common here? 2y, so it is y. This must be plus. Sorry for that. Then we have minus 1 as common here, so that we are left with y, then plus 2 equals 0. What is common here is y plus 2, and 2y minus 1 is equivalent to 0. So that means that y plus 2 is equivalent to 0, or 2y minus 1 is equivalent to 0. If that is the case, then y here, when you take to the other side, is -2, or y here, when you take to the other side, it shall be 1, then you divide by 2 half. But what did we say? We said that y is equivalent to cos x. This means, therefore, cos x is equivalent to -2, or cos x is equivalent to half. So when we get the cos inverse of x of -2 is not invariant, it is invariant. So when you use your calculator, it is written error is invalid. When you use your calculator, it's written error. That means it does not exist. But when we get cos inverse half, we shall get 60 degrees. So the equation is not completely solved if we have not obtained all the angles which satisfy the range in which we are given. The equation is not completely solved not until we get all the angles which satisfy it within the given range. So like in our case here, the range that we have is that x should be within this range. And because we already have the first angle, we need to recall. Let's recall the unit circle. Where we say all students take coffee. So it means that all angles with here in the first quadrant are positive. Only sign that is positive in the second quadrant, and only tangent is positive in the third quadrant, and only cosine that is positive in the fourth quadrant. So we normally have 0 and 360 here degrees. Then we have 90, we have 180 degrees, and we have 270 degrees. So already we have seen that cos x equals half is equivalent to 16 degrees. So we are supposed to get angles within this range and this range since it is positive. So to get this angle, we shall have 360 degrees minus 60 degrees. We shall get 300 degrees. So the possible angles within this range are 16 degrees and 300 degrees, and that is the final. And thank you so much for watching from the beginning to the end. I wish you all the best in your forthcoming exam. Kindly remember to subscribe and share widely. Thank you.